These are the three things you never tell a seller when you're cold calling. Hey guys, my name is Mike. I'm a real estate wholesaler. I started a real estate wholesale company in 2018, built it up for $0 to 7 figures in 18 months. I've trained a lot of salespeople, had thousands and thousands of sales calls. I've done over 450 transactions in real estate wholesale deals and generated millions and millions of dollars, close to $7.5 million of real estate wholesale fees since then. And the majority of those was closed by myself and my team. So these are the three things that you never tell a seller when you're cold calling them to generate real estate wholesale fees. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time watching, my name is Mike and I started out as an acquisitions manager for a real estate company in 2018 and generated it from $0 to 7 figures in 18 months. And in that period up until late 2023, before I went off and I did my own thing, I've trained 15 to 20 acquisition managers, a lot of lead managers. I've trained leadership within the sales organization, and I have had tens of thousands of phone calls. I've done hundreds and hundreds of real estate wholesale deals, and I've generated $7.5 million real estate wholesale fees. So I know a thing or two about talking with sellers. And these are the three things that you never ask or tell a seller. And I know it's going to be a little controversial. I'm just giving to you what my experience is. And I'm actually going to drop in a fourth one in here that I think no one talks about, and they don't know how to ask it the right way. So the first thing you don't ask a seller is, are you interested in selling your property? Of course they're not interested in selling their property. You're some weird dude that called on a Tuesday afternoon asking them, are you interested in selling? They might be interested in selling, but they're just not interested in selling to you. Some guy called them on the phone and then you popped up as spam likely, and they're gonna be like, no dude, I'm not selling it to some weirdo that called me Tuesday at the afternoon that says you're from ABC Home Buyers. Like, no, it's not happening. So I train the intro that we go into is completely different than what most people do. Guys, if you want to actually know what it's like to work with one of my cold callers to generate more leads in your pipeline, the reason why you're not getting a lot of leads in your pipeline if you're hiring cold callers is probably because of this. They don't know how to barrel through the introduction, which is absolutely crucial. So anyways, if you want to know what it's like to hire one of them, just click the link down below. Let's hop on a call and see if it's a good fit. By the way, if you like this video, or if you think it's going to give you value, or if you need to learn more about sales, marketing, negotiation, cold calling, team building, all that good stuff, go ahead, click that thumbs up button and hit that bell for the video just like this. Now, the second thing that you don't ever say to sellers is that you're an investor, right? You're an investment company. Ugh, it's just cringy when you say that. Don't say that. Guys, unfortunately, because there's a lot of unethical real estate investors and investment companies out there, wholesalers and investors just they get a bad rep, right? And sometimes it's not our fault. It's just we get a bad reputation, and it's because the other 10 companies did something really shady. And so you're already having to fight this uphill battle of having a bad reputation, and you're paying the price of the previous wholesaler that called them. We have to understand, guys, these sellers get abused. If you're out buying a list from Batch or PropStream, they are getting abused by these wholesalers. They're getting told the same thing. They're not getting offers. They're getting hung up on. They're not, like, it's terrible, guys. So don't be that wholesaler. Be different. Just, don't say wholesaler. Hey, my name is Mike, and me and my buddy, we're just looking for some homes that we can do one of two things with. We can either fix and flip, or we can keep it as a rental. We're just looking for another project just to keep our guys busy. So I'm saying we're investors without saying the words investor or investment company. I don't like that. Now, the third thing that you never ask a seller is, what has you interested in selling? So this makes sense if it's an inbound lead. If it's an inbound lead that's approached you, this is an appropriate question. If you are going outbound, this question is going to get you nowhere. And a lot of times you'll be coached and trained. Well, what has you interested in selling the property? Like, before you get to the condition, because they're like, oh, Mike, I don't want to talk about the condition of the property until I know they're interested. Dude, you called them. So like these RDRs and objections that you get where they're like, well, you called me. Yeah, you did. You did call them. You did say you were going to make them an offer. So quit acting like you have this superior status as a salesperson. Outbound marketing, you automatically don't have the superior status on the negotiation table. You don't have leverage. They have the leverage because you approach them. That's just sales 101. So don't ask that question. I'm going to tell you right now the responses you're going to get. You called me. I'm not looking to sell. I wasn't looking to sell. I wasn't thinking about selling. Instead, you just don't ask it. You want to get the whole story. Hey, I've seen you've owned this since 1978. Man, have you always lived in this house? Oh, gotcha. Okay. Man, you probably don't want to move. Man, it'd probably take a lot for you to move, right? Like, just make it conversational. Like, where are they headed? Hey, I'm just really curious. I mean, like, what would be the next steps for you? Like, let's just say you really liked an offer. Someone came by, gave you an offer you couldn't refuse. confused and, you took it, like, what would be the next steps for you? And try to like put a picture together of what they in their brain kind of envision, right? And guys, you're going to talk with sellers that truly aren't interested. You will. I mean, that's just sales. You will talk with sellers that don't have a big enough reason to sell. And so that's okay. But if you ask it in a way where I'm asking about the condition's a little rough. Okay. So is there a reason? I mean, why not just fix it up and clean up? You have a bunch of equity on this. I'm sure you could take out a line of credit and get it all fixed up and make a lot of money on the market. Why not? Right? Oh, I just don't want to go through that. My credit score's not that great. Okay, why isn't your credit score that great? Right? So we're just starting to pick up on a couple of things here. So on that discovery call, you have to understand the whole situation. And I have actually a 3-step sales process that I train my sales team in and my lead managers. By the way, if you want to know what that's like to work with me and learn about the sales process that I've developed and I've actually learned from very, very successful tech companies and tech sales, go ahead and click the link down below, schedule time to chat with me, and love to see if it makes sense to work together. Anyways, guys, here's the fourth thing you just don't ever ask is, do you have a mortgage on this? What's the mortgage amount? Listen, I don't know about you guys. I've never gotten a real good response from that. Like the only time sellers likely will say, well, that's none of your bit. Like they think it's this this piece of information that's like so private, but it's actually public record. So you can do it one, you just don't ask, because you can look on public record, right? You just don't ask. But if you are doing a creative deal, or if you are like trying to do subject to, maybe you're trying to do a wrap or whatever, I explain that to them first. And then I ask for the mortgage, right? I don't get to asking that type of question until I find out that listing it doesn't make sense for them and a cash offer doesn't make sense for them. If I've determined that after the first stage of my sales process and maybe like the second stage, that's where I'm like, okay, look, it seems like these options aren't going to work for you, but we do have a third option. Now, look, I don't want to like take up your time on reviewing it and going over all of this stuff if it's not even going to be helpful, but I do have some questions to ask you just to see if you possibly qualify for this third option, because I know that, we have discussed that, if we could work things out, you might sell. And so I just want to make sure that you have all of the offers and types of offers available so you can make the best decision for yourself. So is it okay if I ask you some questions? They might come off a little personal, but again, I'm not here asking for a social security number. I just need to understand a little bit more about the property just to see if this qualifies. So again, I'm asking them permission if I can ask them some more questions. By the time that I get to this stage, by the way, we've already had likely 2-3 phone calls and have determined what doesn't make sense for them, right? As far as like a cash offer listing or whatever. My creative deals, guys, but by the way, when I just do the creative deals, I usually keep that as like a last, because they have to be fairly motivated. Unless it's like a free and clear deal, but free and clear, I'm not a big fan of free and clears. Usually not a lot of motivation there because there's not a lot of financial motivation. So you typically do seller financing, in which case I don't need to know the mortgage. But if I'm taking it subject to, there's likely going to be some motivation there because they're either falling behind on payments or it's just the expense is too much for them. So that's how I ask it. And then I get them to tell me. And then I'm like, okay, the reason why I said that was because we could do A, B, C, and D. And then we talk about what that like subject to creative deal look like. If you want to know more about that, I'm not like a creative expert. Like it's not rocket science, but more about that, go to Pace Morby's channel. He talks a lot about that. So anyways, guys, those are the 4 things. You never tell sellers. You never ask sellers. If you found value in this, like the video, subscribe, hit that bell for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.